Hi guys, it's Miss Lee, and this is the second video of properties of operations. And since we've already learned about the different properties of operations, we're now going to use those to help us determine if expressions are equivalent. So these are just examples. Okay, we want to know, are these expressions equivalent? So take a look at the first one. It says 9 plus the sum or a group of 3 plus y. Is this expression equivalent to 9 plus 3, the group or the sum of 9 plus 3 plus y? Well, take a look at it and see what changed. Did the numbers change, or the order of the numbers? We have a 9, a 3, and a y. We have a 9, a 3, and a y. That did not change. What about the operations? Plus, 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 plus. That did not change. What changed were the parentheses. In our first expression, the parentheses were around the 3 plus y. In the second expression, they're around the 9 plus 3. Can we do that? Is that okay to do that? Is that going to change our answer? Will it make our answers different? No, the answers will still be the same. We can do that. So this is going to be a yes. I'm going to put a y. Yes, they are equivalent. If you're not sure, you can substitute a value for the variable. So I can do 9 plus the sum of 3 plus, and I'll use a 2 for y. Same thing over here. 9 plus 3 plus 2. And just do the math. Do your order of operations. 3 plus 2 is 5, and 9 plus 5 equals 14. Here, 9 plus 3 equals 12, and 12 plus 2 equals 14. So we get the same answer. So yes, these are definitely equivalent. I want to try to get away from having to substitute a number. Yes, you can do that if you need to. But try to think about moving parentheses. This is the associative property, where you can move the parentheses as long as nothing else changes. Okay, our next expression says 7 times the group or the sum of 9 plus t. Is this equivalent to 7 times 9 plus 7 times t? How is it changing? First of all, what do you recognize about this first expression? There's two different operations, right? There's multiplication, because the number touching the parentheses means to multiply, and then there's addition inside the parentheses. And we talked about the properties. There was one property that had two operations in it, a multiplication and an addition. And that was the distributive property. And the distributive property says you can distribute this number on the outside that you're multiplying it by to each term inside. Is that what is going on here? 7 times 9. Well, okay, 7 times 9. Then we have plus, which is what we have inside the parentheses. Then we had 7 times t. 7 times t. That's exactly what we did. So yes, these two expressions are equivalent. This is the distributive property. You don't have to identify the property. For me, it helps, but you don't have to identify it. You just need to know that you can do this. This one was, if you wanted to know, it was the associative property. Why can you do this? You are just moving the parentheses. Nothing else is changing. Okay, what about the next one? X times a negative 1 over x equals 1. This is a fraction, so if I make this x a fraction, what did they do here? They wrote the reciprocal. But did they really write the reciprocal? No, because of this negative. So this negative makes it no, it's not equivalent. Now, if this had been a negative x, then yes, this would be equivalent. But it's not. It's a positive x, so this should be a positive, not a negative. And that's your justification. No, they're not equivalent because the reciprocal of x is not a negative. Okay, it should still be a positive. And in case you're wondering, this is the reciprocal. Okay, so I'd like for you to go ahead and pause the video and go through these next 3 examples and see if you can come up with if they're equivalent or not, and why. What's your justification for your answer? Once you're done, come back and check. Okay, let's see how you did. On the first 2, your answer should have been no, they are not equivalent. So it looks like they were trying to do the distributive property and distribute this 4 times the t plus, but then they did not distribute the 4 to the 6. They just wrote plus 6. So this is what makes it wrong. This is the distributive property. Okay? When you justify it, they forgot to distribute the 4 to the 6. Should have been 4t plus 24. On our next example, 21 minus s times t. If you look, the numbers are all the same in the same order. You've got the same operations, a subtraction and a multiplication. So the change is they just moved the parentheses. Oh, but did they move the parentheses? No, the parentheses are still around the s times 2. They switched the numbers inside the parentheses. Can you do that? Can you change the order of two numbers you're multiplying? Yes. So this one is a yes, they are equivalent. When I first looked at it, I thought no, because there was a subtraction in the expression and we cannot have a subtraction. But this 21 minus, they didn't do anything to this, did they? It stayed exactly the same. The change was made with what was inside the parentheses. So yes, you are allowed to change or flip-flop the order of the numbers that you're multiplying or that you're adding. That's the commutative property. The next example. Alright, this is what I was thinking this second problem was. This one is a definite no, because there is subtraction, there is addition. And although the numbers and the operations remain in the same order, they move the parentheses. First, we're grouping 4 plus x. And in the second expression, we're grouping 8 minus 4. You can't do that. The operations have to be either all addition or all multiplication. Okay? So no, this one is not equivalent because of the subtraction that's involved. And this happens to be the associative property. Okay, 3 more examples. Go ahead, pause the video, work them out on your own, come back and check your answers. Okay, first example. What is changing? The Q46, Q46 are in the same order. We have an addition and then a multiplication. Although that didn't change, but I don't think it's going to work because we can't have those two operations here. So what changed was that they moved the parentheses. Here we were grouping, doing the multiplication first, 4 times 6. And here in this second expression, they changed the grouping and put it around the Q plus 4. We're going to get a totally different answer, so no, these are not equivalent because you cannot group around change groups around two different operations. Okay, the next one says y minus a negative y equals 0. What happens when you subtract a negative? It turns into a positive. So y plus y, does that equal 0? No, that equals 2y. Okay, so they're trying to do with the integers, making a 0 pair, and it should have been y plus a negative y, not y minus a negative y. So this one is no. And our last example is a little bit different. It has 3 plus b, is it equivalent to, and then we have a model with the algebra tiles. Okay, this x tile represents any variable, so you can consider this a b. And then the 3 positive units, so they have b plus 3. Are these equivalent expressions? Yes. All they did was change the order. Instead of adding 3 plus b, they switched it and did b plus 3, which is the commutative property. So yes, that one is equivalent. Okay, now you're ready for your independent practice.